Hey everyone, welcome back to Learn to Play TV. Today, we will be going over the Month 3 OP kit for the Avengers vs. X-Men event. This month, you will receive another SwitchClicks participation figure. For those who are fighting with the X-Men to help put the mutant kind back at the top of the evolutionary ladder, will receive Hope Summers. And for those who are fighting to protect the world from the destructive Phoenix Force, alongside with the Avengers, will receive Professor X. Now everyone will receive the 4th Phoenix Fragment, the Emma Frost Fragment. This month you will also be competing for the White Phoenix Hope, who is actually a pretty cool figure. And I also have the map for this month to go over. So let's go ahead and dive right into this review. To start us off, let's go ahead and take a look at this Hope Summers figure. Hope can be played at 122 points with 7 clicks of life. She starts off with an awesome trait called Power Mimic. This trait allows you to give Hope a free action, and with that free action, you may choose a standard power that is possessed by a character within 4 squares. Hope may then use the chosen power until your next turn, as if she had a 6 range value. Now that trait is awesome. Also, correct me if I'm wrong. I hope I'm not reading too far into this, but since it does say a power possessed instead of printed, that means if a character possesses a white ability to, let's say, give said character, a combination of abilities like Flurry Blades or Charge and Flurry. So if Hope uses her power, should she be able to choose from either of these powers as well? Now I'm not saying that she should be able to choose the white power and use the full ability, but being able to use one or the other seems like it's legitimate. But if you guys do know, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Either way, that trait offers so much opportunity for both offense and defensive play. Now for Hope's first 2 clicks, she opens up with a white movement ability called Jetpack. This ability allows Hope to use the flight ability and charge. Now pair that with the trait to steal a power, as well as her 10 attack, a 19 and 18 defense with combat reflexes, and 2 damage. That's not a bad start for a 122 point figure. On click 3, she does pick up Precision Strike and Perplex, giving you a few more options to stick it to your opponent. As we move on to click 4, we do see that Hope changes her dial. She picks up Leap Climb with Precision Strike, as well as Willpower and Perplex. She keeps these abilities up until click 6, where we see that Hope transitions to the end of her dial. She picks up Stealth with a 10 attack and Exploit Weakness. And on her final click, she picks up Regen. So let's hope that your rolls are in your favor. Overall, this version of Hope can be very useful. She may not seem like the Omega level mutant that most people are looking for, but I do feel that Hope offers a lot of options for your team, and with the right build, she can shine. Next up, we have the one and only Professor X, and I have to say I am very excited to have this figure. Professor X has always been one of my all-time favorite mutants. This Professor can be played at 150 points with 6 clicks of life. He starts off with improved targeting that ignores hindering terrain, so say goodbye to all you stealth players. He also starts off with a trait called You Think You Know Me, and this trait states that when Professor X does not have 2 action tokens, he can then use Shape Change, making it that much harder for you to attack him. The Professor opens up with a huge amount of white abilities. His first that we run into is his movement ability, called I Can't Let You Do This. And it states, Professor X can use mind control, and is not dealt unavoidable damage from it. Now I don't know about you guys, but all you mind control lovers, this figure right here is the king of mind control. A figure with 8 range 3 targets and you do not take the unavoidable damage from mind control is a great figure in my book. But wait, it gets even better. Opposing characters within range must be given double power actions instead of power actions. Again, that is huge. This is really going to screw with your opponent. But let's keep going. Professor X's white defense ability, called Only When I Have To, allows Professor X to use Mastermind. And when he does, he may then divide the damage dealt between 2 adjacent friendly characters if they share a keyword with him. Again, another huge ability. Having the Avengers, Illuminati, and X-Men keywords offer some great options to pair up with the Professor, especially characters with either impervious or invulnerability. Oh, this is just going to be a nasty figure. But just you wait, folks. Professor X has another white ability on his damage ability called I Love You All. This allows Professor X to use Empower, Enhancement, and Leadership. And when you use the leadership and succeed, he may then remove up to 1 action token from each adjacent friendly character with the X-Men keyword. I mean, wow. That is just another great ability for this figure. Being able to use Empower or Enhancement with that mind control to turn your opponent's own figures against them for more damage is awesome alone. But this leadership is really where it's at. Any X-Men team out there should be using this guy. Oh, and I should mention that the Professor also gets to use Penetrating Psychic Blast with all of these wonderful white powers. And it lasts for his first 3 clicks. Now, on his click 4, the Professor shifts his dial. He drops all of his abilities except for his white movement ability. But he does pick up in cap with super senses and outwit, still allowing you to really stick it to your opponent. Now, like the front half of his dial, he does hold these new abilities throughout the remaining last clicks. Overall, I do feel that this is a great version of Professor X. He offers so much for X-Men and Avengers theme teams. I would expect to see him played a lot. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the prize for this month, the White Phoenix Hope. She can be played for 175 points with 7 clicks of life. Hope starts off her dial with an 11 hypersonic, impervious, a printed 4 damage, and 10 range. Not a bad way to start off. But on click 2, we start to see Hope's true colors. She drops her hypersonic and picks up in cap with a white damage ability called Rebirth. This ability allows Hope to use support, but with a twist. When she uses support, she chooses one of the following. Either her attack value becomes 12, or you do not subtract 2 from the result of the d6 roll to heal. Now, as you can see, that ability is awesome on its own. But it is kind of a surprise, not really what you would expect from this Phoenix figure. Now, I know that there are a lot of people out there that are genuinely upset with this figure. And to a point, I understand your frustration. This Hope is not the damage dealer that she should be for 175 points. I mean, she does have the full Phoenix Force at her fingertips. But I have come to realize that that's not really what this figure's about. This figure is really intended to be an amazing support figure. And not for those low point games. For 175 points, no one's going to pay that for a support figure. But for those high end games, those high point costing games, this figure is really going to shine. Being able to heal a figure to the full d6 roll is quite nice to have. So don't count her out just yet. On click 4, Hope does pick up her hypersonic speed once more, and combines it with steel energy, allowing you to hopefully get back to your previous click. But on click 5, she does drop hypersonic once again. Now on click 6 and 7, Hope loses her white support ability, but she does pick up a white revert ability called Hope Summers. This revert allows you to give the White Phoenix Hope a free action to replace her with the AVX number 16 Hope Summers. Now, this is a little tricky with the wording, but on these clicks, you are allowed to revert the White Phoenix Hope to the Hope Summers figure that you participating X-Men players received this month. Now, it does state that you revert her to the same click -2. Now, it took me a second to figure this out, but what they do mean is that if you were to revert on the starting click that she can use this ability, which is click 6, you then start her dial on click 4. If you decide not to revert this figure, you do have regen on those last 2 clicks. Overall, I do feel that White Phoenix Hope is a great figure to use. She's just really dependent on higher point games, and she's not going to be the damage dealer that people expect. But overall, for a support figure in those high point games, she is really going to shine. Alright, so here we have our 4th fragment for the Phoenix Force. This fragment is the Emma Frost fragment. And this fragment allows characters to use poison, telekinesis, and the flight ability. Now, telekinesis is one of those abilities that is highly sought after in team building nowadays. And I really feel, just like that Colossus fragment last month, that this fragment is going to see a lot of play. Now, depending on whether or not you're going to assign it to a figure or keep it on your Phoenix Force is really up to you. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at these maps. This map is called Limbo, and this is an indoor map. Now, Limbo in the comics is the area where Magic and Doctor Strange battle it out during the giant Avengers vs. X-Men battle on Utopia. This map has a ton of elevated terrain. Now, there's only 2 levels of this elevation, so this map is going to be really nice for flyers, and it's really going to be taxing on characters that don't have flying. There's very tight corridors and not a lot of coverage to move around safely along this map. The starting areas are relatively small as well. We have one over here in this top left here, and then we have the other here in this corner area here. Now, there are a few areas of blocking terrain, but they're very few and far between. We have a couple here, one pillar here, another pillar here. These 3 columns are all blocking terrain. Looks like you have one here as well. And there's also a few hindering terrain areas. So stealth is going to be relatively good for this map. But other than that, this is just going to be a big rumble map. Being able to carry your team is going to be really nice on this map. Personally, I think this map could be really fun. You're going to see a lot of characters, or characters that have a lot of range is going to be really nice here. Now, there is a ton of elevated terrain. You have this big platform area here. Starting areas, you kind of are boxed in around elevated terrain. Some on the sides. You have this one that protrudes out here. So a lot of areas for you to get up on top and kind of control that lower areas, those lower corridors from people getting through, as well as being able to shoot your opponent from the other side of the map. So ranged characters are going to be great on this map. Overall, I think this map is going to be a lot of fun, but I'm projecting that it's going to be a lot of very quick battles. Alright, and here we have our next map, and it's an outdoor map, and I'm probably going to butcher the name. And this map is called the Variance Mountains. And in the comics, this is where Spider-Man essentially sacrifices himself to save the rest of the Avengers from Colossus and Magic. Now, Spider-Man does end up getting away with his life, but he does get Colossus and Magic to successfully turn on each other, and they end up taking each other out. So again, it's really cool to see that they did make this into a map. As you can see, the first thing that you see on this map is there's a ton of elevated terrain. Now, I believe in the comics this is a volcano, so we're looking at like a top-down view of this volcano. Starting areas on this map look pretty standard. You have the first one over here on the left, and then the other here on the right. Pretty standard for a Heroclix map. Now, we do see that there is a second and a third elevation here up here in the top left-hand corner, and they are the same for each corner around the map. Now, at the center of this volcano here, it does look like there is a lower elevation, so you have an elevation 2, and this outer lip here around it is elevation 3, so it's actually a higher elevation. And then the elevation to the left is lower, it's elevation 2 again. So you're looking at, it kind of dips in here, so you're looking at a higher elevation coming out here on the outer areas, and it dips in and comes back up to kind of form the side of this mountain. Now, there's no hindering terrain or no blocking terrain on this map. It's just open, elevated terrains. Now, flying characters on this map are really going to be where it's at. Flying or improved targeting, those kind of figures are really going to shine on this map. It's going to be very hard for characters that use ground movement to get around on this map, because like here on the sides, you can't just jump off. There's very limited areas to where you can actually get up and down on these elevations. So when you're preparing for your teams for this month, make sure you're looking to either have a flyer to carry some of your figures around, or make sure your whole team can fly. Overall, again, this is going to be a really fun map. These are going to be quick battles. There's not a lot of protection on these maps, but they're very open and leave the possibilities open to just get into giant rumbles. Alright guys, that does it for our review of this month's OP kit. I hope you all enjoyed this video and got a lot of great information from it. And if you did like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up down below. It really helps us out a lot. Also, we are so close at hitting that 500 subscriber goal. I think we're at about 482 subscribers, and that is amazing, guys. When we hit that 500 mark, which should be right around the corner, I'm going to be giving away a Giant Man figure to one of you guys. So if you're not a subscriber, now's your chance. Hit that subscribe button today. Well, guys, I hope you all do well in your upcoming events, and I look forward, as always, to hearing how they went. You guys have a great week, and I will see you all later.